Hey, you guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, welcome to the channel. On this channel, we try to cover all things reality, TV news, and gossip, as well as trending topics. And today, we're going to be talking about Farrah Abraham. She did another interview where she discussed her relationship with her parents. And she actually goes a little bit more in depth as to why she stopped having a relationship with her father, Michael. And it's pretty interesting because she basically says there was no reason. There was no reason at all for her to stop associating with Michael other than people at like the facility that she was at told her to. It was nothing that he did. He was like pretty supportive, but they just kind of recommended it, which is kind of wild. So Farrah actually did an interview on this YouTube channel called The Misunderstood. I think it's actually a podcast as well. I will link it, but the YouTube title is called Farrah Abraham: Fame, Infamy, and the Legacy of Teen Mom. And it's like I said, it's on Misunderstood's YouTube channel. It was about 2 weeks ago. So I'm actually surprised that the Ashley Realities Roundup is just now putting an article out about it. And I know that Farrah actually talked about her relationship with her parents on a previous podcast, Funny XO. She talked about them. So I thought, oh, probably won't cover this. She's already talked about this before. Probably won't be anything new or interesting to add, but it actually is. I did see that, Colby. I did see that. So we're going to go over the Ashley's article because when I read that essentially, basically, there was no reason for her to stop having a relationship with her dad, I was like, wow, that's really bad because at the end of the day, like that's your dad and he did a lot to help you. And I've been watching Farrah. Well, Farrah's daughter Sophia goes live on TikTok a lot. And I've actually been able to catch several of the lives. And I've tried to ask questions, but it goes so fast. It's like impossible to ask questions. But Sophia goes live on her TikTok, but she has to keep Farrah in frame. Like when Farrah's walking around, Sophia's like literally walking around, walking around, walking around. And everybody's like, why are you like following Farrah around? Why are you keeping your mom in frame? And it's obviously because of her age. She can't just be on TikTok alone because she could get banned due to being underage. Sometimes Farrah will talk. Sometimes Farrah's just like sitting there, like tending to business on her phone, whatever. So I've been watching. Now, one thing that I've noticed is Sophia is a little snippy with her mom, but it's like Farrah don't even notice. Like Farrah will say something and Sophia will be like, no, mom, stop. And Farrah's just like, Sophia. I'm like, this must be like a regular for them, right? Because Farrah doesn't seem shocked at the way that Sophia kind of talks to her at times. So yeah, I think this is kind of their dynamic. Maybe is she's the only child, so she probably kind of gets away with maybe talking to mom a little bit snippy. And yes, Farrah used to get snippy with Deborah as well. So we'll see. All right, so the Ashley put up an article, and we're going to go over the article. All right. So it says Farrah Abraham talks about why she and her daughter Sophia haven't spoken to her mom and dad in over 2 years. Farrah Abraham has cut both of her parents out of her and her daughter's lives. In a recent interview, the Fire Teen Mom OG star explained why she doesn't want to deal with Deb's OG break it through and Michael Abraham anymore. I just listened to that song a few minutes earlier because I was looking for a good photo to use for my thumbnail. And I was like, the best photo to use for a thumbnail of Farrah's mom would be from one of her music videos. So I just had to listen to it. Okay, so as we all may know, Farrah has always had a contentious on and off again relationship with her mother, but had always maintained a decent relationship with her dad when she wasn't, throwing frozen peas at him and screaming at him or forcing him to dress up like her yogurt shop's weird mascot. Those days are over now, according to Farrah. During her interview last week on Rachel Uchitel's Misunderstood podcast, Farrah stated that she cut off Michael when she completed a trauma program in 2022. At the time, she had already become estranged from her mom, Deborah, and she had actually been estranged from Deborah for a while. So Farrah said Leaving my trauma program, they actually also cut out a lot of people from my life. Michael had been supportive of Farrah following her January 2022 arrest, even helping her move from Los Angeles to Texas, where he resides. However, Farrah checked out of the program and gave Michael the boot. Farrah said, "So I actually haven't talked to my parents from in 2 years from leaving the trauma center. It doesn't appear that Michael actually did anything specifically to be deleted from Farrah and Sophia's lives." Farrah stated that the doctors at the treatment center recommended it. She said this using her signature Farrah speak lingo. So they actually can't guarantee that's exactly what Farrah meant. Farrah said, "I am doing what's best for my psychotherapist guidance and everyone else who's living by the 12 steps. So I'm going very hard and fearless in that. Again, I just send my love and light to people. It's out of just being healthy and balanced." Farrah also confirmed that her daughter, Sophia, who was 15, had cut off Michael and Deborah, both of whom helped Farrah raise Sophia while Farrah was off filming reality TV shows and special movies and whatnot. Farrah said Sophia has decided to not speak to many of her grandparents, not only my parents, but her dad's parents, which really was confusing because I'm like, what? So Sophia's not talking to Derek's parents now? But then she went on to say, Sophia does still have a great relationship that she wants to be open with her grandfather on her dad's side. So that's great. That was kind of confusing because I'm like, well, you just said that she cut off many grandparents, not just yours, but her dad's as well. So that would seem like you're saying Derek's parents, but now she's saying no. She actually has a great relationship with Derek's dad. Sophia's father, Derek Underwood, died in a car accident while Farrah was pregnant with Sophia. However, Sophia and Farrah have remained in Derek's father's life, and often visits him in Missouri. Farrah has never allowed Derek's mother, sorry, to be a part of Sophia's life, but she's never allowed Derek's mom to be in Sophia's life. Back in August 2022, Deborah spoke to the Ashley and stated that she's often accused of causing Farrah to be the way she is. At the time, Deborah stated that Farrah's actions are of her own. Deborah gave the interview after watching her daughter's behavior during an appearance on Teen Mom Family Reunion Season 1. Deborah said, "What happened on Teen Mom Family Reunion is a good example of this. The people who think I'm crazy and I caused all of this, well, I wasn't there on the family reunion. I wasn't in the room. Otherwise, it would have been a different outcome. Just as she disrupted the whole episode, you can have a family member who walks in and disrupts the whole family. It's the same thing." So Deborah's basically saying, like, listen, even if I'm with Farrah, she comes in and like is a little tornado and just wreaks havoc on whatever's going on. The same way she did on the show. They had nothing to do with me, is what she's saying. During the hour-long podcast interview last week, Farrah spoke about how Deborah's treatment of her allegedly soured her on religion for a long time. Farrah said, "I didn't know the difference between religion and spirituality when I went into the trauma center. It was very convoluted and confusing growing up. If anyone watched my journey, you saw my mom hit me and call me Antichrist and call me the Antichrist often on 16 and Pregnant. So I just know that when you are raised with a mother who has some God complex, it really rips you away from being connected to a higher power like God." Farrah then, ironically, in the same interview, compared herself to Jesus. And she claimed that she's sober now, which is great. That's awesome. Farrah said, "I'm a sober queen. I was just on vacation and I saw a lot of moms having alcohol at like 8 o'clock in the morning. And I wanted to say I used to be not knowing how to deal with all the stressors. I used to be like, how can I deal with family? How can I deal with all this stuff? It's so heavy. I don't know what to do. I really found my happiness after I got to go to a trauma center after being assaulted and spending 28 days there with the world shut off, work shut off, social media shut off." some of that stuff is still kind of confusing. Um, but I mean, apparently she feels like she at minimum got something out of this trauma center, which is great. But I'm really like, if if I went to a facility and they're like, cut your dad out of your life, and I would need to know why. She's never given a reason why. This is at least the second interview that Farrah has given, and she's mentioned kicking her mom and her dad out of her life, but she's never said why. And now, other than the fact that she says, "Oh, for my psychotherapist guidance." What does that mean? Your psychotherapist guidance suggested it, but based off what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, the only thing that I felt was really wrong with Farrah and her dad's relationship is he enabled her, to be quite honest. I mean, maybe Farrah misunderstood her therapist, and the therapist was like, "You know, your dad really enables you. That's not good. Like, y'all need to figure that out. Y'all need to work on your dad not enabling you." And Farrah was like, "Oh, you mean kick him out of my life? Okay, yeah." I don't know. Like, I can't. Yeah. Abby says that therapists don't recommend stuff like that, and I don't know one way or the other because I have absolutely no idea. But I would feel like a therapist would not suggest that you cut someone off unless that person like hurt you really bad, right? And then they might be like, "Oh wow, stay away from that person." But Farrah's never come out to say that, which maybe she wouldn't. But as close as she was to her dad, Michael, you would think because she cut her mom off way before her dad, and her and her dad had a really close relationship. Whenever she went to discuss her corn tape, her dad went with her. Her dad has kept Sophia for like days on end, for weeks on end, while she has filmed for things. So the fact that she obviously like trusted her dad for her to leave Sophia there for days and weeks on end. So I wouldn't think that there would be something there that maybe her dad did to her that we don't know about. I don't know. It's just a weird thing to me. But I have listened to Sophia talk about it as well. And Sophia's like, "Yeah, I don't have anything to do with my grandparents, and that's fine by me. I don't care. Not a big deal. Doesn't bother me not to talk to them." And I'm just like, wow, that's sad because those grandparents love Farrah and they love Sophia. And one day, when Sophia gets older, if Farrah ever has to deal with Sophia wanting to cut her off, then she might understand, like, wow, maybe this is what my parents felt like whenever I cut them off, you know? Go to therapy. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, maybe things happen off camera, but Farrah, I'm like, but why not? I don't know. She's not talking about it, so maybe it's something that she just feels. She's only saying it was at the suggestion of the facility she was at. Yeah, they were really close. So that is a shame. At this point, Farrah has cut off all of her family. She does not talk to her mom, her dad, her sister, or her grandmother. So she doesn't talk to anyone in her family, from my understanding. It's sad. It's a sad situation. Farrah has like her own little friends. She has her boyfriend that she's very tight-lipped about. Even crazier is when Farrah did Bunny XO podcast and she talks about her boyfriend. And Bunny's like, "Well, will you ever introduce the boyfriend?" Like, she's like, "No, nope, I'll never introduce him publicly." And Farrah told Bunny, she said, "I've never met my boyfriend's people, and he's never met like any of my people other than my daughter." And she said, "Well, what if it gets like really serious and y'all go on to get married? Do you think you'll meet his family then?" And Farrah's like, "No, why would I?" I'm like, "What? You don't want to do Christmas with the family?" I don't know, you know? But yeah, she was like, "Even if y'all get more serious and like marriage, you like then you'll meet the family." And she's like, "No, probably not. I don't why do I need to meet his family? I don't need to meet his family to be a part of his life." And I'm like, I mean, Why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to? I mean, I guess you could. I guess you could be like, listen, my life is separate than that. So we'll have our own holidays and then you can go back home to have holidays with your family. But if my son ever came home and said, I have a girlfriend, but she don't want to meet you, I'd be like, for what? Why? And then if my son came home and was like, so I proposed to my girlfriend, I'm like, okay, then you need to bring her to meet mom. No, she still don't want to meet you. Excuse me? That's very strange. Is her boyfriend imaginary? I don't think so. I mean, we've seen photos, like here down, like his face blurred out and stuff like that, or photos that are so far off you can't see his face, or like it's kind of getting dark, so you can't really see him. And then the other day, she was like cleaning. She's like, because my boyfriend's coming in, so I gotta clean. And people was asking Sophia, have you met the boyfriend? Have you met the boyfriend? Have you met the boyfriend? She was like, yes, I've met him. So Sophia's met him, but nobody else really has met him. Of course, not her family, because she has nothing to do with her family. But she said, yeah, watch the Bunny podcast or listen to it. I think you have to listen to it. She literally asked her, she said, so if you decide to get married, if this gets serious and y'all go, she's like, what's serious? But no, why do I need to meet them for that? I don't know. That's really wild. I think she will regret that later. Her parents took good care of her and even protected her when she was in the wrong. She needs to find peace within herself. And two, like, I don't think Farrah's parents were completely innocent in things. I know Deborah got physical with Farrah. There was the time where they were like in the car and she like did like that to Farrah. And that's not good. But go to therapy, work it out. Now, if your mom is like beating you up, then I think that's different. If your mom's like beating you up and you're actually scared that you're because your mom's beating you up. But parents make mistakes. Parents make parents. When you have a baby, it doesn't make you perfect. All of a sudden, like, oh, well, now you're going to be a perfect parent just because you had a baby. Parents make mistakes. They do things. They do things and they make mistakes. And I couldn't imagine thinking, oh my gosh, because I've made mistakes, my children may have nothing to do with me. What? Yes. Remember her dad ran on stage to fight Matt? Yes, I remember that. Whenever at one of the reunions, like before the reunion, Farrah Abraham had said that Matt Beyer looked like a pedophile or was a pedophile or something along those lines. So at the reunion, whenever Sophia and Simon were on the couch talking to Dr. Drew like asked Farrah about it. And she's like, well, he does. He does look like a pedophile. And Amber come in like, and then Michael, Farrah's dad, stood up and was like, you need to leave her alone. You need to leave her alone. And then Matt come out and was like, no, you need to leave her alone. Like, don't be talking to my boo thing like that. And Matt and Beyer hit Michael, and they like threatened to sue and stuff. It was like a whole big old thing. I'm like, I mean, your parents really had your back. There was a reunion where Farrah's parents wore T-shirts that said Team Farrah, and then they sat on the couch with Farrah, and Farrah like berated them and was like, "You guys are," and argued with them while they literally wore Team Farrah T-shirts. I'm like, are you still Team Farrah right now while you're arguing with her? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I'm sure they did some things wrong. But I do really feel like they really loved her. Um, so it sucks, the whole situation, especially to find out that Farrah doesn't really have a reason to distance herself from her dad. She just did it, I guess. It's weird. And also that Sophia has done it. I think that's sad. KGT says, I kicked my parents out of my life. Sometimes people are toxic for your sanity, but it always seemed like her parents had her back at the end of the day. Exactly. It did. It seemed like they had her back. Listen, there's people in this world that are narcissistic, egotistical, just crazy people that no matter what you do, you can't get along with them. And I can understand that. And I think they tried. I think Deborah, Michael, and Deborah's husband really tried to get along with Farrah, and they continued to try. And Farrah was the one that cut them out. And I think if they were to continue to try to give Farrah the opportunity, I think they would still try to have a relationship with her, even though, in my opinion, Farrah was the one that made it difficult. I remember the one episode where they were like on vacation with Deborah and um, Dr. David, Deb's boyfriend, and they were at dinner outside their little villa or whatever. And Deborah was being Bear was being really rude to Deborah. And man stepped in and he's like, "You need to chill out. Like you're being really rude and wrong. Like you owe her an apology." And then Farrah's like getting it crazy with him. And she's like getting loud and she's being rude. And he never even like raised his voice. He's like, no, no, no. You are the issue. You and I do feel like that's a very he probably shouldn't have said nothing. I get it, he was taking up for his wife, but at the end of the day, like, that's a daughter and a mother, like, you're, like, new man coming in. Probably should have let her try to handle it and just kinda sit there like, "Hi, everybody. Can't we all just get along?" You know what I'm saying? Um, so, yeah. I haven't watched it yet. I haven't watched listen, I am really behind on a lot of stuff. I'm really behind on, like, emails and everything, so if anybody's emailed me anything about a story, if you've emailed me, I'm super behind, so I'm gonna try to watch it, though, because I have heard about it. But, yeah, you guys leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Once again, Farrah discussing her estrangement with her parents and essentially basically saying that she was advised by the facility that she was at to cut off all communication with her dad. At one point, Farrah moved into her dad's house with her pony for a while. She was close to her stepmom. Her dad loves yeah, her dad does love Farrah. Nobody will ever be good enough for Farrah. Oh, thank you, Jessica. So the other day on one of the live streams, somebody asked if they still had Starburst, the pony, and they said yes. But I'm like, where's she at? If y'all have Starburst, is she still at Michael's? Or because they live in Austin in like an apartment that is like 12, 14 stories high or something. I don't know, it's high. Like when you watch them on TikTok, you can see they're up there. So I'm like, you know they ain't got that pony up in that apartment. You know what I'm saying? Where's the pony? But she did say they still have the pony, so I don't know. She isolates her daughter because she don't want her to turn into her, and it's going to backfire on her. I do think it will backfire on her. It already seems when you watch them live, it already seems like Sophia is like irritated with Farrah a lot. So that's just my opinion. But anyways, and here's the thing: I'm not saying I know there's times that you do have to become estranged from your parents, like maybe your mom or maybe your dad. Like I do know that happens. So I'm not going to sit here and if somebody watches and they're like, I haven't talked to my mom in 10 years, and I get that. I get that. I'm just saying, based off what I watched with Farrah, I didn't really feel like it was warranted. Maybe there's things that we don't know, and maybe that's is some of the reason why. But for based on what we do know, it really doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Farrah's boarding the pony somewhere close to her location. Oh, thank you. But yeah, you guys leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Where are we at here, you guys? We're was Farrah's parents toxic? Is Farrah toxic? Are they toxic together? Do you guys believe that she, those are her parents? She should have continued to give them chance after chance, go to therapy, whatever. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. And make sure on the way out, you give the video a thumbs up. Also, make sure you are still subscribed because YouTube has been unsubscribing people. So, yeah, like, share, subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.